everybody, this is Bobby with Bobby Stamps, and I have a technique I'm going to teach you guys today. It's kind of a light technique, but I think you guys can see what I was going for there. So this is the card that I'm going to show you how to make. I'm just going to move this out of the way and we'll get started. So for my card base, I'm using Mango Melody, and this is cut at 4 1/4 and just scored in half at 5 1/2. Okay, so that's going to be my base, and then I have 3 strips: Daffodil Delight, Basic Black, Granny Apple Green. These are all cut at 1 1/2, and then these two are cut at 4 1/2, and then this one is cut at 4 1/4 because this one is going to fit across there like that. And then I'm going to use our glitter enamel dots. We're going to use the Granny Apple Green to just kind of accent on the cards there. I went ahead and punched or die cut out using the layering oval dies. I went ahead and die cut out the scalloped in the Granny Apple Green, and then this is our watercolor paper that I'm going to use today. I'm going to use the Lovely is the Day stamp set. Today is actually the first day that I have used the stamp set, and I love it. Oh, I wanted to mention too, these are ran through the Ornate Floral 3D embossing folder. I think this is very quickly becoming my favorite embossing folder so far. So I'm going to use Granny Apple Green re-inker and also Mango Melody re-inker. I'm going to use clear embossing powder. I'm going to use Memento ink to stamp my sentiment, and then I'm going to use Versamark to stamp the images, and then I'm using, oh, wrong one. I'm using clear embossing. I had accidentally mixed up a little bit of my clear with my white, so that's why this is setting. I had to separate them really quickly before it caused any more of a mess. Okay, so we'll just go ahead, and I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper so I don't get my work surface a total mess. So this is the piece of the watercoloring. I am going to kind of layer this just so I don't, because that will soak right through my paper. So I'm just going to layer that on there like that. I'm going to take 2 blocks. Let me move down so you guys can see. So I'm going to take 2 blocks, and I'm just going to put a tiny drop. It does not take a lot at all. I might have to add a little bit more. I might have been too stingy there, but we'll see. And then a drop of the Granny Apple Green. And I forgot to mention, I do have an aqua painter, and I just have, you can fill this with water, but right today for this project, I just decided to use the brush and just do it. And so I am really soaking my paper. I am getting all around the edges, all that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to squirt a little dab onto the Granny Apple Green, and I'm just going to bring it down at the bottom, and you can see it just kind of like starts to bleed. Just move that around, and I'm gonna get a little bit darker because it faded a lot, and so I want not so much of a washed out look for this right now. I'm still trying to pull in some of that dark. Just because you can see on my card, it did fade. This is the Granny Apple Green here at the bottom. So I'm going for a darker look. This is the first time I've tried this technique, was when I made this card, and it is Watercolor Resist, I believe is the technical term. Now I'm going to put a little bit more, and then I'm just going to do the Mango Melody up here, and you can leave some areas. And again, I'm going to go for darker because it faded just a little bit, and I'm going to try to get those two colors to kind of marry together right there. You don't want a sharp, hard line on it. So that's pretty good, but I am going to go in some spots and kind of try to make that just a little bit darker because it does fade. And we're going to go back in after we put our image on there, and we are going to put more water, so it's going to be even fading more. So that's why I'm trying to go with a really dark look for this. Okay, that's going to be good, I think. I'm going to move that out of the way. Now I'm going to have to turn on my heat tool. I will speed this up so it doesn't take so long. You can always flip it over and dry it from the back side too. It really doesn't take the heat or the watercolor paper that long to dry. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to take my embossing buddy and go over the top of this to remove any oil from my skin, from my fingers, things like that. So I'm going to take up the big flower image, and I'm going to ink that up with the Versamark, and I'm just going to stamp it right towards the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to emboss this because I want to see where it's at, and I think I need to move. I know I had another spoon, so I'll just grab this one from the white. Oh, and here it is laying on my chair. Okay, so let's pick this up and just put that, this is clear embossing powder, just because I want to be able to see where I'm stamping my flower. So I'm going to go ahead now and ink up the flower that's in that stamp set. And I gotta kind of tilt it so I can see. So I'm just going to have my flower like coming in from the side. Okay. Let's go ahead and put our embossing powder on this now. Just make sure you get it all. And over there on the sides where my fingers might have been. I'm going to put the lid back on this. And then turn the heat tool on again. And you can't really see much for this step. I mean, you can see that the clear embossing powder is melting. I'm trying to be careful and not touch it on the side where I came in where the flower was. And so I'm just melting that. And it's not anything fancy right now. It's not any, really can't see anything. Except for a little bit of a shine here and there on the card. Okay, let's bring this back in. And then the next thing I'm going to do is bring my brush back in. I'm going to clean it off. And then we're just going to drench it in water again. So just put a lot of water, and then you can see where it's resisting where that embossing powder was. And then you just take a paper towel and remove, just pat. And you can keep going and it'll get a little bit lighter. I mean, at some point you're going to have to stop. But I'm going to leave it like this because I like this because it's a little bit darker. This one was a little bit more, can you guys see that? It's a little bit more muted. I mean, you can see the flower in person. It's very pretty and you can see the flower. But this one is much more distinctful. So I'm just going to put just a little bit more right here and there because it looks like I didn't. I'm just going to put just a smidge more. There we go. Just a little bit more of a balance, I think. Okay. Heat tool on again to dry this. Okay, let's see. I think that's pretty good for while we move along with the rest of the card. Now I'm going to move this out of the way just because it's wet and kind of in my way now. Okay, so let's take and bring in our card base. This is going to be the front of my card. So I'm going to ink up the sentiments in Memento Black. and I'm just going to stamp it right in the bottom on the right hand corner. Okay. And then that will help me know where I need the placement for my these strips that I'm going to put down. Okay, so what I did on this one, I just kind of did my placement, kind of eyeballed it, and then I brought this one down just a smidge so there's a little bit of a stacking on those. So let's go ahead and put some Tombow on the back. Just move that and just get them as straight as you can. Okay, and then let's put some on the back of the Daffodil Delight piece. That has fell over every time today when I have used it, or what seems like every time that I have used it today. Today kind of seems like Freaky Friday or something. It just seems it's one of those days that just everything has gone wrong. Everything I touch, I drop, I spill it, knock it over, all the above. And this I'm not putting right in the center, I'm putting it more down towards the bottom instead of in the center. Okay, and then we're going to take this piece and put some Tombow on the back of it and just layer it on that oval. And kind of scoot up. Okay, and then flip it over on the back. And I'm going to put 4 dimensionals. Could do 5 and put 1 right in the middle if you want, but I'm good with 4. I did use a lot of paper towel for this project, and blotting and all that kind of stuff. So be warned for that. And then we're just going to place this right about there. Get that dimensional off my finger. And then I'm going to grab this strip of Creamy Apple Green, which I thought I had a strip. Let me see if they fell out into my little basket that I used to keep everything together. I don't see it, but I thought, let's see. I know I had a strip, but I'm not finding them, so we'll just use this. And grab. And I used smaller ones, I think, on, but I don't have any of them left over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the bigger ones. So I'm going to kind of do 2. Can just do them with my finger and get them off there better. So I did 2 there, and then I'm going to do 1 right here at the bottom, right there in that corner, just for a little balance. Okay guys, so here are the 2 different cards. So as this one, you can see it's got a much more lighter tone. I went very light. Well, I won't say very light, but I went lighter, of course, on this one. And like I said, it's the first time I did it. It is the first attempt at it. So I wasn't really sure how much of that was going to lift off. But this one, I went a little bit darker, and I like this one a lot better. I think it is, the definition is better. You can see the image and everything a lot better. So I love this. Again, it's called Watercolor Lifting Heat Resist, I think is what it's called. With heat embossing, heat resist, emboss resist, whatever you want to call it. Because what happens is that powder that got put on there, and then the water lifted it, but then when you put the second layer of water on there, it resists what you've already embossed. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button for me. If you hit the little bell, you'll get a notification every time I upload a video to YouTube, and I am going to try my best to start doing 2 videos per week for YouTube. Thanks guys so much for watching.